find out what we're talking about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie here on EWTN Radio. This is what we call, we do it about once a month, we call this Unscripted, meaning Debbie and I don't script anything out. We bring a few little tidbits or odds and ends to introduce into the discussion. But Debbie, this show, we say every day that our callers and their takes and what they share drives the program, well, never more than when we do Unscripted.
We've done it several times, and it's really quite interesting what comes out of this show. And you can suggest topics, future topics, and you can maybe refer to different subjects that we covered in the past. We could revisit certain things. You could ask us things about ministry and maybe where our heart is with certain things. It's just a great opportunity for us to get to know one another better, and also to walk away with just kind of a little bit of a grab bag feel of that we kind of covered everything and tied it up into a nice bow, and that's what I think is important about the unscripted show, Jerry, is it gives us that chance to kind of catch up. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, dear friends, the hour passes quickly, lines fill up fast, and unfortunately we have to leave people on the line at the end of the show. So if there's just really anything going on in your mind, kind of ruminating in your mind that you want to discuss, maybe you're going through a tough time right now and you just want to chat briefly about that. We can't spend a lot of time with it, but maybe we can give you an encouraging word, or another caller might as well. 1-800-585-9396. If you follow the March Madness, maybe you're a little disappointed that your bracket is in tatters right now. We can talk about that. The latest movie that you saw. We can talk about faith issues. If you have faith questions, why does the church believe this? Why do we do this as Catholics? How do I teach my kids to better embrace the faith? 1-800-585-9396.
And we're not experts in certain areas, but we do have, I think, quite extensive combined. We have many years of catechetical training. And so I think that we could just maybe share from our own experience of what we have seen working in ministry. Jerry was in the seminary. There's so many ways we can impart that. But more importantly, you, with your wisdom, end up teaching all of us. So keep that in mind, because so many times the answers, we know the answers, they lie within us, and we just need to express them and maybe have some affirmation to be able to move forward and realize that we're on a good path. We're all in this together. So here come the calls. That means that you love Unscripted. We're so glad you do, because we've tried to incorporate it now, I think, almost once a month, and it seems very widely accepted and received by all of you. And that's important, because we don't want to do anything just for our sake. We want it to be beneficial for all of us together. So 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to dial when a line becomes free. Or you can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response, put your first name in, your question or comment, and we will introduce it into the show at just the appropriate time. Okay, did all the housekeeping, Jerry. Now it's up to our listeners to take Unscripted away.
Well, here, and I just want to give an example of what you might want to call in and talk about. Maybe you've come across something in recent days that just sparked your interest, your curiosity. Maybe it got you a little bit riled up. I was on a plane the other day. I was by a newspaper, and I read it, not because I like the content of it that much, but just to pass the time. And you remember, Debbie, when, I don't know if you were around or played much sports in school, but you remember the old saying back in the 70s in high school, get high on sports, not drugs. Remember that phrase?
Vaguely, but yes,
Okay.
I do recall. Okay.
Well, it was intended, a lot of kids were
Right.
getting into smoking marijuana and stuff at that time, and this whole campaign, get high on sports, not drugs. Well, I saw this article in USA Today. I guess he's a former NFL player, Jim McAlpine. He is starting what he is saying is the world's first cannabis gym in San Francisco.
What?
Yeah, so people who go in to work out can actually get high before they work out. And the claim here is that this helps with focus and meditation and helps work through the pain of the workout a little bit better. And the new members have to take a cannabis performance assessment under the supervision of staff to get this, to determine the most optimal ways to consume the pot before they work out. So this is an absolute inversion of what we were taught when we were kids. Get high on sports, not drugs. Now they're saying get high and then do sports. So there's this whole anyway. That just struck me as people should know from this show. I'm not a fan of this current marijuana movement. I know you're not. And in fact, Jesse Romero, our mutual friend, is actually starting anti-marijuana conferences that he's going to be holding around the country. But that just, I don't know. I was just bothered by that. This is going a bad direction.
And to get onto a major paper like that, so that that somehow you glorify it right out the gate. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just sickening how we are. How weak, and the problem is, Jerry, when people read stuff like that, they just think, oh, everybody's accepting of it, and that's not true. That's why we've got to make sure that we really filter what comes into our homes. It's very, very important, especially in this day and age when we're trying to live a good Christian life and we're being faced with the world that's just coming at us. Okay, Gina already weighed in from Texas, and we're going to get to that shortly, but phone lines are filling up. Matt's doing a great job by answering and saying, please hold, and going to the next phone. That's awesome. Good job, Matt. I wouldn't want to be Matt on Unscripted days, Jerry. That's got to be hard.
Any day for that matter.
That's true. So many calls. That's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah. Well, Matt and Rich and Jeff and everyone at EWTN Radio and part of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie do a great job. So it's Unscripted. What have you seen? You've come across? You've been thinking? Maybe you're burdened by anything you want to talk about today. It is all yours at 800-585-9396.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
Cannot be detached from sin just during Lent. That's a contradiction. If you have a habit of sin, any kind of grievous sin, you've got to be detached forever. You can't die, go to heaven, and say, Lord, you got me at my undetached week. If it's a grievous sin, and there is a grievous sin, that we used to call mortal sin, and it separates you from God. You have to stay away from it, and that's what it means being detached. You've got to stay away from it. If you feel you're attached to a grievous sin, you've got to go to confession, try to get the indulgence, and then from that moment on, no more sin.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Post your intentions on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's website. To get there, just click on the bright yellow J&D logo at take2show.com. Jerry and Debbie personally reply to every prayer intention that's posted. Others will also offer you their prayer support. When there's something important you want prayers for, post it on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's site. Visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo today.
Podcasting is an easy way to automatically receive your favorite EWTN programs on your mobile device, and it's all at your fingertips. Visit EWTN.com/podcast and enjoy your favorite EWTN shows on your mobile phone right now.
This is Janet Benkovic, host of Women of Grace.
Hello, this is Cardinal Donald Wuerl of the Archdiocese of Washington.
This is Gloria Purvis, co-host of Morning Glory. Have a blessed Lent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
Welcome to Unscripted today. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and you make the Unscripted show. So Gina, like we said, already weighed in from Texas, and she wanted to ask how, now we don't know the specifics of the stories, but this is what we've gotten written up on the screen. How do I tell my daughter, Alicia, who is suffering, where God is in all of this? Wow. How do I tell my daughter, Alicia, she's suffering, her daughter's Alicia is suffering, and how do you explain where God is in the midst of this? Jerry, would you like to go first?
Well, yeah, and like you said, we don't know the specifics. First of all, Gina and Alicia, you will both be in our prayers, and we hope this isn't too serious and that God will soon bring relief and a resolution for this. But I guess what I would say, Gina, is maybe point out to Alicia and any other kids you might have, and this could go for any parent as well, when your child has something go wrong, say they fall down, skin their knee, stub their toe, whatever, what's the first thing they do? Mommy, daddy. See, they want to find you. They want to find you because you're the one they know can help to heal them and take care of that hurt, kiss it and make it better. And so in this situation, maybe tell Alicia, God is our Father. We need to understand this son and daughter relationship that we have with God. So not that she doesn't go to you, Gina, or perhaps to your husband or her dad, but also that God is a Father that she can also turn to in the same way that she turns to you and her dad as well when something like this is going on. And not to think of God as distant or not caring, but really a God who loves her and is holding her just as tightly as you might as her mother. I don't know if any of that is a little bit helpful, but Debbie, I know you probably want to add to that.
No, I think that was phenomenal what you said. The thing that I've always brought up, especially in religious education classes, Gina, if you're listening, and Jerry and the rest of the Take Two family, is that in our minds, we think that this world that we live in right now has to be perfect. It has to look perfect, has to feel perfect. It has to somehow travel along in a perfect way. And when suffering enters in, or a crisis or something happens that derails that image of what we think is a quote unquote happy or successful life, whatever, It shakes our faith. It shakes where we're at. It shakes the relationship sometimes we have with God, because we're saying, well, we're reaching out to God. We're faithful to God. Why isn't he answering me? What did I do wrong to have to endure this kind of suffering? The thing about it is I can't stress it enough. This is a preparation for life. This is a preparation for eternal life. And what we experience here is going to be able to secure our spot, if you will, secure our existence, if you will, in eternity. And so people are watching, people are learning from our faith, people are learning from how we go through things. And it's all dependent upon how we hold on to our faithfulness and how we show our faithfulness. And we're planting that spot, if you will, for eternity. I can't stress enough. I hope I'm saying it the right way, Jerry. I know we don't have a lot of time. I always wish I have like 20 minutes to give an explanation, and we only have like 2 minutes. But do you know what I'm saying, Jerry, about the whole idea of when you're suffering, this is a chance to really secure. Look at Mother Angelica, perfect example. Secure your spot in heaven, or secure how close you're going to be in eternity to God in the beatific vision, with the sense of knowing, going through what you're going through here with not an acceptance, but an embracing that
resignation.
God. Yes. Thank you. See, I like to think it and you say it. But you know what I'm saying, Jerry? I mean, I can't stress it enough, because otherwise, every suffering, every early death, every premature thing that happens to us, we would be thinking, why? Why is this happening? God's supposed to be a good God. He's not supposed to let this happen. So there has to be an eternal sense to this.
Yeah, very good. All right, well,
Okay.
I hope that helps, Gina. Thank you. Again, we'll be praying for you and Alicia and your entire family. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. It's unscripted. You set the table, and Andrew, you get to pick the next topic here for us, listening to EWTN Radio on Guadalupe Radio in Texas. Hi, Andrew. Welcome to Take Two and Unscripted.
Howdy.
Howdy, Andrew.
My question is concerning corporal works of mercy. I've always been told that they're pleasing to God when you do them. My question is, if you're a police officer or a firefighter, are corporal works of mercy somehow less pleasing to God because you're paid to do them?
That's an insightful question, Andrew. I would say there might be. This is, again, I'm not a theologian or anything, and Debbie is not either per se. We both have some training, just some experience in these types of discussions. But I would say there might be a sense in which you are doing it out of a sense of duty. So, but I think that if you apply your heart in a way that, you could say, I am doing this, yes, I'm getting a paycheck for this, but I'm doing it out of love for God. And see, I think this, Debbie, can apply to any job that we do.
That's right. Nurses,
doesn't matter what
doctors,
it is. We can yeah, we can do it for the glory of God and the salvation of souls. And Andrew, if you're thinking that maybe you want to go a little bit deeper than that, then perhaps on your days off you might also find some opportunities to involve yourself in the corporal works of mercy. But I would say just have that disposition of heart and mind that is raised up toward God, because you are, in a sense, it's like a physician. It's like, in a sense, like a priest or a teacher or even a parent. You are given a privileged role in people's lives, and you can really bring the love and the peace and mercy of God to them, Debbie. I don't know if you have any additional thoughts on that.
You said it beautifully, and I'm so glad you brought in the heart and the disposition and the intention, and that's all I was going to say too, Andrew, is that sense of it's what your intention is. God knows your heart. And so it's no different. I mean, let's you can look at it like this. Priests get stipends. They get stipends. It doesn't change their vocation. Okay, to be paid for doing a work is something I think is kind of standard, if you will, to be paid for doing something that you're doing that is work. But if you apply that sense, like Jerry said, of your heart, your intention of offering it up to God for the glory of God, using your gifts for to build God's kingdom. Do you know what? I believe in my heart of hearts that corporal works of mercy that you are displaying, those have great merit. I believe that. So that would be my take on it. And I know, Jerry, you just texted something over to me, but I couldn't read that fast and talk.
Well, I just wanted to, Andrew, thank you for being involved in this type of work. And just one other point I would make, I know, for example, my pastor goes to, it's a South American country once a year for about a week, along with a medical team, and they all volunteer to go there, and he gives spiritual help, and all the doctors give medical help, and the things that they're doing there as volunteers are no different than what they do in their offices back home. So when you think about it that way, Andrew, you really can turn this into, I think, very meritorious actions, as Debbie just said. Does that help out at all?
What do you think, Andrew?
I'm too stupid to think. Thanks for your time.
Well, okay. Andrew, thank you for the work that you do in our community. Thank you. It's very, to be a police officer, firefighter, you guys put your lives on the line so many times. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Andrew, and for what you do. And for listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going over to Jessica next, who's in Cordington, Ohio, listening to EWTN Radio on our other friends there at Annunciation Radio, where Debbie's going to be in a few weeks. Jessica,
yes,
welcome to Take Two, Unscripted. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. I have a question. I'm not a Catholic. I don't have any religious church that I've found yet. I've been studying Catholicism, though, off and on for years. I don't know why. I've just always been drawn to it. I've read the catechism. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I have a question on vocations. How is someone supposed to know if they're being called by God to do something in the world, or if it's something that's coming out of your own thoughts? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Since Jerry is the founder of Vocation Boom, I think he should answer this one.
Well, that's a ministry that I have, Jessica, that encourages young men to consider the priesthood, but really vocation in general applies across the board. And the beautiful thing is, Jessica, you and I and Debbie and John, who's our next caller, and Andrew, whom we just finished with, every one of us has a vocation. It comes from the Latin word vocare. It means to call. See, God doesn't just create us and kind of wind us up and set us on our way, and we're just kind of walking like a robot, and God says, well, I don't care what you do, go ahead. I made you, but now you take it from here. But God is like a master craftsman. And I like to use the analogy of a baseball bat. You know, if you, what is the person who makes a baseball bat, what do they make it for? To hit a baseball. You can do a lot of other things with it. You could probably drive nails with it. You could hit somebody over the head with it. You know, you can do a lot of other things, but there is an ideal use in mind that the Creator had. And that's the way it is with each one of us in our lives. So I would say, Debbie, and you can comment on this probably more than I can because you've worked with a lot of young people discerning their vocations. But Jessica, God will put holy desires on your heart. And sometimes there are more than one of those. So you have to get maybe some spiritual guidance, and we're going to talk about that because we had a text from someone else about that. But as long as they're goods, Debbie, good choices, there is no really wrong choice, is kind of my understanding of it. God has a perfect plan for each one of us, and hopefully we find that.
Right, exactly. Jessica, Jerry said it beautifully. I mean, I couldn't add one single word to it. The thing about it is we stress this, especially with the teens and our youth, that you're not here by accident. You have a plan, you have a purpose, and to use your gifts and talents for the glory of God, whether you're a police officer, a doctor, or a lawyer, using your gifts for the glory of God is really what we are called to do as Christians. I just want to circle back, though. I hope that helps, and I agree with Jerry, with proper discernment and also spiritual direction, to have those voices that are trained to be able to discern whether things are of God or of just your own wants and needs that come out of ourselves, because that does happen, that does play into it. But with proper discernment, those things can be flushed out, and you usually can get to that vocational call very quickly. But Jessica, I want to circle back real quickly, just because you started off the conversation that you've been studying the Catholic faith, and you don't align yourself yet with the Catholic faith, but you said you read the Catechism. I just want to say thank you so very much. I can't even begin to tell you. Well, yeah, Jessica, I have to tell you, I can't even begin to tell you how many Catholics have not read the Catechism, and you've read the Catechism. That is awesome.
That was my starting point. I came across, a couple years ago, a friend of mine who was Catholic, and I wanted to know more. So he said, we've got the Catechism, but I've never read it. And I said, well, where do I get it at?
Wow. I am so proud of you.
Started studying.
Well, that's awesome, and that's and that and more you will learn in RCIA. If you have a parish community around you that you might feel close to, I would make an appointment and see if you can meet with the deacon or the adult formation director and just talk with them to see what kind of programs they have. And RCIA is the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults, which is the entrance kind of Catechism 101, if you will. And and it's really wonderful, and it's a great way to just kind of put your foot in the water to just see if the Catholic Church is something that you really feel drawn to. But here's the thing. You're listening to EWTN. You have read the Catechism. Jessica, my gut tells me that you are so close to coming into the family of the Catholic Church.
But I'm so afraid to actually go down and start RCIA classes. It's not even funny.
May
I don't know anybody in Ohio who's a Catholic.
Okay.
And when I tell people, hey, I was listening to the radio yesterday, conversation really hit close to home because of the office that I work in. I work in a senior center, and there is constantly disrespect in the office. And I went back in the office, and I kind of shared some of what I was listening to. And some of the people in the office were like, oh, you're listening to that Catholic station again, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am.
Wow.
So I'm kind of afraid of the backlash that would come if I actually knew. And I don't know.
Right. Well, may we suggest something? Because Jerry actually put it up on the screen, and I was thinking it as well. So it must be a divine intervention here. Annunciation Radio is your local radio station. It's phenomenal. The people there are, Deacon Mike and Chris and Phil and everybody there at the Annunciation Radio are the most incredible people. And may we suggest you calling them and just to maybe connect so that you can have that support around you. Jerry, I know you have the number right in front of you, and I can't see it on the screen.
Yeah, well, and Jessica said she doesn't know any Catholics. Well, there are a lot of Catholics in Ohio, Jessica. We can assure you of that. And the folks at Annunciation Radio would certainly know many, many of them. And maybe there's a young lady that they know who has taken a similar journey that you're on right now, and maybe the two of you can just have coffee or just kind of chat about this. So you could find them at annunciationradio.com on the internet. But the phone number is 419-754-1009. Again, that's 419-754-1009. And Jessica, as Debbie said, sounds like you're very, very close, but you have to be the one who makes that determination. And God will not let you down, Jessica. God will lead you where you're supposed to be and where you're going to have ultimate, your most happiness in this world. So we'll be praying for you, Jessica.
Absolutely, Jessica. Stay with us and to keep us posted, you can always email us, Jessica, at take2@EWTN.com. This is Unscripted with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Monsignor Charles Pope.
And I always say to my people, my parishioners, for you I'm your pastor, with you I'm your brother, but from you I'm your son, because they have formed me so beautifully over the years and taught me to trust God and to praise God, and they brought the Holy Spirit alive in me in just ways I could never have imagined, coming out of seminary. I had all the intellectual stuff in the seminary, but my priestly heart has been formed by my people.
Morning Glory, Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Dr. Ray Guarendi.
When I've had enough. I ask parents, when do you decide to discipline? One of the most common answers is, when I've had enough. If discipline is designed to teach, then we need to discipline before we've had enough. We need to discipline because the behavior's wrong, not because emotionally it's pushed us to our edge. Besides, when you get to when you've had enough, you're much more likely to yell and scream and say things that you have to go to confession for. So, the suggestion is discipline out of principle, not emotion. Principle means because it needs discipline, and I'm going to do it when I'm calm. Emotion means I'm going to be moved to do it just because I'm mad.
EWTN is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If your cable or satellite provider doesn't carry EWTN's full programming lineup, give them a call and let them know you would like to receive EWTN 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
For more information, go to EWTN.com and click on television.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. And you're always the key to this program, but on our Unscripted, which we do now about once a month, we just want to have a conversation about what you want to talk about. Kind of like when friends get together, haven't seen each other for about a month, and you're having lunch or coffee or something, and you just kind of chat about whatever comes up and whatever your life experience has been recently. So please join us at 1-800-585-9396. And Debbie, we had a text from Marissa in Ohio, and it relates to what John in Nashua, New Hampshire wants to talk about here. Marissa says, I've always heard that spiritual direction is for people considering a vocation. Can others have a spiritual director? And John,
yes,
we're going to bring you on the program because John, listening to Sirius XM 130, has a similar question in Nashua, New Hampshire. Hi, John. So your question relates to Marissa. Why don't you verbalize yours for us here? We'll see what we can do.
All right. Good morning. It's interesting that towards the end of your last comments that you did mention the spiritual guidance and direction, which is my question. I have been a Catholic all my life, and about 3 years ago, I went to Cursillo, and that changed my whole life religiously and spiritually speaking. And I've been doing a lot of things, getting more involved with the church, doing a lot more religious reading, and I seem to have gotten to a plateau. And I always consider myself very independent, but I think I'm at a point where I need some help. And that's where I read something on Daniel Burke, who was one of your contributors there at EWTN, about spiritual direction. And I was wondering what your comments would be, where you might push, where I might go for the start of this whole thing to try to get some help in that area.
You want me to go first, Jerry? Okay, so John, and same if Marissa, if you're listening as well, just as Jerry said, we're all called to a vocation of marriage, family, single life, whatever God has put us in that place to be, to live out, to use our talents and gifts for the glory of God. Spiritual direction is very, very important. And John, you said something that you should actually, you don't realize it yet, but you probably should be very excited about. You said you kind of hit a plateau. which if you look at the lives of the saints, that happened many, many times. And that is part of the kind of spiritual rhythm, if you will, of growing and maturing in your spiritual life and getting to know, love, and serve God closer as you travel on this earth. So spiritual direction is important. Now, what's the easiest way to do it? Here's the problem with it, and I'll tell you it right up front. And the reason why I can say this is I was in spiritual direction for many years. I was actually trained alongside with actually Tom Peterson. Some people may know him from Catholics Come Home. Tom and I actually went through the spiritual direction class together, and I actually was in spiritual direction for many years. A lot of priests and nuns and deacons and various leaders in the church, they have kind of moved a little bit away sometimes of a direct spiritual direction one-on-one, meaning I'll be your spiritual director, because believe it or not, the caseload, if you will, how many people you have, becomes so much that you don't know how to say no, and so it's sometimes it's difficult to find a spiritual director. So the best place I would suggest versus going to your parish, going to a catechetical leader there, or the deacon, or priest, your pastor, and say, Father, I really am looking for spiritual direction. Can you point me in the right direction? And he may come up with a list of names. My pastor, when he couldn't be a spiritual director to so many people, because everybody would ask him to be their spiritual director, he would come to us as catechetical leaders, or he would come to other people that he knew had enough schooling and had enough of the training on discernment to be able to help and journey with that other person. And so it could be maybe the leader of somebody in Curcio. It could be maybe a Bible study. If you have This Man Is it This Man Is You, Jerry? I can't. This Man Is You. That the program at the parishes.
Yeah, I think it's That Man Is You.
That Man Is You. I always say it wrong. I don't know. That Man Is You. Somebody in leadership that can be a companion, a spiritual director, if you will, in quotes, to help you along. But John, I just want to say one thing. I myself have 5 people that spiritually, quote unquote, direct me. One,
Debbie's high maintenance.
Well, and why do I say that? Because everybody brings a different spiritual nuance to the journey. And like Jerry said, and we've said it before in the show, God is a beautiful craftsman, and the tapestry he weaves for each one of us is so exquisite. And it doesn't just take maybe one person to help you grow in your faith and to affirm it. So that's what my suggestion would be. I know that was a long answer to a short question, but Jerry, what do you think?
Well, John, I want to see if any of that makes sense and kind of hits home in your heart for you. What do you think, John?
Yes, it does. And the thing is, and Debbie mentioned it, is I want to go to my pastor, but I know he's such a busy man, as you mentioned. They all are. And I don't want to burden him with that or make him feel like he has to do this for me, but maybe he could point me in the right direction to someone who can. And I guess it's good to know that you may not want to just stop at one source of spiritual direction, and maybe there's different areas that you could get this from. Yeah. And that gives me a good idea of, and it opens my horizons a little bit, which I'm grateful for. But I think I'm at a point where I need some help, and you certainly have helped in the right direction. And I think Daniel Burkett had some good comments in his article, and I have a place to go, but I appreciate all your help and your inputs. It's been very helpful.
All right, John. Thanks so much. We'll be praying for you that you find that right person. And one other quick comment, you might want to ask whoever you consider to do this for you, ask them, not would you be my spiritual director, but do you give spiritual direction? Because there is a difference. Some are comfortable with it, some are not, some are a little more trained than others. Not that it's, one person's good, one person's bad, but some people actually have a heart and sort of a calling from God to do that. So we'll pray for you, John. Hope that works out well. And Debbie, I have, from before I went into the seminary 20 plus years ago until this very day, I have a spiritual director that I see about once a month. And I just find that it, helps keep me focused and because, we get misled sometimes with ideas and I don't know,
Satan wants to lead us down a wrong path. I'm not saying that, everyone needs to be worried about that or anything, but, especially in the ministry work that we do, I just really want to stay grounded and focused and have somebody outside of me telling me when, hey, I think you're straying off over here. I think you're on the right path over here. So.
Right. Right. And the lives of the saints, reading the lives of the saints, St. Teresa of Calcutta, St. John of the Cross. I mean, you can go on and on and on. The plateaus that the saints hit in their different spiritual lives. It's really quite amazing, and that's what we can draw from is the lives of the saints. So maybe that's a good start too for John to also read some of the saints' lives, so that you don't feel alone. That's the last thing you want to do in your spiritual growth is feel alone. And so, John, thank you so much for you helped so many today. I could tell because as you were speaking, my texts were going off like crazy. So a lot of people are into spiritual direction right now, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So thank you, John. Okay, I have to just say this real quickly. I know that so many people are waiting online, but I have to say this, Jerry. We're going to get to the end of the show, and we've got a worldwide movement that is going to happen on Monday, and I want the whole entire world to know about it so we could get it on Facebook, and it's going to be on EWTN Radio Facebook page.
This sounds exciting.
It is. Get ready. Are you ready? I know
I'm ready.
this. Okay. Take2show.com, but Monday, March 27th is the 1-year anniversary when Mother Angelica entered into eternity. She left us last year and entered in on Easter Sunday, and March 27th is 1 year since she met the Lord. And how amazing is that? So we want to remember the beautiful friendship. It's 1 year and a day? Is it 1 year and a day?
I think it was March 26th, but that's a Sunday this year, so.
Oh, so
I'd have to check on that.
Okay, I thought
anyway,
March 27th.
We're marking the 1 year anniversary.
Okay, on March 27th, Monday. Okay, so here's the thing. We want to remember what she has done in our life. She brought joy. She brought optimism, friendship, just the love that she shared, the sunshine that she shared in our lives. And here's the thing. Yellow was her favorite rose color, and yellow signifies friendship and joy and optimism. So we thought, what a great, wonderful way to remember what the joy and friendship she brought into our spiritual lives. So we're asking the world on Monday, March 27th, and it is the year anniversary.
That's right. Yeah, it was the 27th. I was corrected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just got confirmation on that. So this Monday, if you could do something that represents the yellow, the favorite color of Mother Angelica, and the favorite rose, yellow rose. Maybe you could put one single yellow rose in your home. How about a dozen roses? How about wear a yellow shirt, a yellow hat, a yellow scarf? Maybe bring out the yellow crayons and decorate something with yellow, just to remember every March 27th of the beautiful, how she enhanced our spiritual life with all that she gave us. If you could do that, I think it would be really a great way to honor what in her ministry life, what she imparted to all of us, and still leaves today with what you're listening to, EWTN. I mean, think about that. It's pretty magnificent. So I just want to let y'all know, I'm going to take a picture of the yellow roses that will be displayed in our home for the entire, we're going to actually buy them on Sunday night, and we're going to have them the entire week, and it'll start on Monday, March 27th to remember Mother Angelica. So if you'll join us, I'll show you a picture of it on take2show.com. I don't know what Jerry's going to wear. I know, Jerry, you have a couple yellow T-shirts. You could probably put on a yellow T-shirt.
Well, I'm sure I could find something.
There you go. But March 27th, remember Mother Angelica. Remember the color yellow, preferably yellow roses. That would be awesome. So join the movement. Would you do that with us? And we're going to be posting it all over EWTN Radio. Just want to let you know, we're going to go ahead and take credit for this, but it actually came from Jeff Burson, our social media wonderful guy that does such great work, and he's so humble. He said, "You guys go ahead and make the announcement, but we're going to turn the credit back to him because he really had such a great love and has a great love for Mother Angelica." And so, Jeff, thank you for this wonderful worldwide movement on March 27th. Okay, I said it, Jerry. All good.
All right, let's go back to your calls then. Rita in Duluth, Minnesota, listening to EWTN Radio on Real Presence Radio. Hello, Rita. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi. I have a question regarding my folks. They've been married for about 40 years, and I'd say probably the last even 15, 20 years, it's slowly just been more and more unhappy. They've begun to live, like the separate married life. And my mom is an open book about it all, and my dad, never says anything, about, how he feels about anything, other than, anyway, on a personal level, he doesn't. And it's just gotten to the point where it's really hard to be around my mom when she comes over and hangs out with my family, because my husband and I are really happy, and we've got a good, we have 2 young boys, and anytime I say something good about our relationship, she'll say, like, oh, your dad never wanted to do that, or, oh, I wish he would, or, and it's just like, it's really, and it's rubbing off, and it's hard, I want to have a good relationship with my mom, but this is often what we only talk about now. So my question is there some way that I could possibly, even just counsel her? I don't know if that's quite the position I can take as a daughter, but I guess I'm one of the only people that she will open up to in that way. And my dad is also kind of a hard man to be around these days. They're both Catholic. My mom is not super into practicing. My dad practices everything, but at home it's not always evident. But any help you could give me would be just wonderful.
Yeah, Rita, Debbie has a resource that she's going to share with you in a minute. First thing I would say, you know this already, but really, really take this deeply into prayer. And I have never been married, but that doesn't mean one does not have to be married or have been married to know that marital love is supposed to get deeper and stronger and more robust and all of these things versus the opposite. So there's something not right here. There's a disconnect somewhere, some way, and I don't know what it is with your parents. The thing is, one does not, one's love for a spouse should not, and really in all ideal circumstances does not wane or fade, or they don't grow apart if everything is right in each of the spouse's personal lives. I'm not implying anything here, but just pray, that there aren't any things going on, with your mom.
I can tell you that there are. I just didn't want to give the whole long-winded story, but
okay.
There's been some hurt.
And we don't need to get into that, Rita. But see, I mean that's where my heart was going with this, and because I've seen it so many times with men especially. All of a sudden, the wife will say, "My husband just doesn't want to go to church anymore. My husband, doesn't want to be intimate." It could be any number of things. We don't need to go down the list of what those are, but that's why I went to prayer first, Rita, because there has to be, I think, some kind of maybe what's the word I'm looking for, Debbie? Just reconciliation or. Right. What's the word I'm looking for? Just an admission that, hey, maybe I've gone down a wrong path or something. Right. Again, I don't know the details, so I'm not saying that about
just to get all the issues out on the table. You really do. You can't. Yeah, but go ahead, Jerry.
No, go ahead, please. I'm rambling now, but this is.
No, I can
think the
see
Holy
it's
Spirit
heavy.
was kind of nudging me a little bit.
I agree. I can see it's heavy on your heart. And Rita, here's the thing. Your mom confides in you. You can see that something's happening. You know that there's some past situations. Now's the time, obviously, to reach out and grab the resources that you can to help you. I would go to your local Catholic church, ask them what programs they have for people like your mom and dad to see if there's, because every church has maybe a different ministries that they have, or even in your diocese or archdiocese, talk to them and find out what programs they have for folks who have been married a long time, and there's some issues that have come up. Also, too, if you could go to rosesweet.com, rosesweet.com. Rose Sweet is very much. She's very schooled in this area. She has lived through a lot of experiences and works with retreats all around the country and does conferences for exactly very similar things that you're talking about right now with your folks. But here's the thing, Rita. There's a reason that this is all happening. There's a reason that your mom's confiding in you. There's a reason that you voiced it on Take Two today. There's a reason. So something in your heart, something in your soul is telling you got to do something. And I would start with your local parish community. Ask them if they can point you in the right direction. contact Rose Sweet. She'll get back to you. Keep pursuing resources, and because here's the thing, your parents deserve. They deserve to get the issues flushed out. They deserve to be reconciled. They deserve to have a happy, a sacramental marriage in the later years of their life. And so, Rita, you're a great daughter, a fabulous daughter. A lot of daughters won't take action. They'll wait till something happens. And I think it's great that you're being proactive and looking for the resources ahead of time. Does any of that help you? Have you pursued Rose Sweet yet?
No, this is the first I've heard of it, so thank you. I will look into that.
Okay. Would you let us know? Rose will get back to you, but she's traveling all around the country. But email us if you have any difficulties. We can point you with more resources at take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. But Rita, here's the thing. Your parents, they really should be so grateful that they have a daughter like you. I know a lot of kids, a lot of adult kids that just will step back and say, well, whatever happens, happens. And I think it's wonderful that you are doing something to make sure that your parents can have that beautiful, that love and the bond that they should have. So, way to go! I just wow.
Well, it's not hard when you love somebody so much. It's not a great thing by any means, but I just see the longing in my mom and that she wants what my husband and I have, and I want the same for them. So thank you very much. I appreciate the help.
Yeah, thanks, Rita. And you and your husband continuing to model that is going to be very, very important in this situation. So thanks for joining us, Rita. We appreciate that very much. We're going to get to as many of you as we can on Unscripted here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Pam, you've been holding a long time. Thanks so much for your patience. She is listening to EWTN Radio on our Sirius XM 130 channel in Springfield, Illinois. Hi, Pam. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I need some help in evangelizing a friend of mine. They're close friends. His wife is Catholic. He hadn't been going to church, and I saw him at an event, and he was so proud that he was going to church now, and he was going to get rebaptized, which I told him he didn't have to do, but he says, well, now I can be part of it. And so his children were raised Catholic, and he said his boyfriend led her to this church, and consequently they asked him to go, and he went, and he just got something out of it, and he hasn't been going for years. So then he proceeded to say that he went with his wife to the Catholic Church for years, and now he asked her to go with him because the sermons that he gets out of the church, out of that pastor, are just blah, nothing to him. And I said, well, it's the Holy Eucharist. It's the source of something. He says, yeah, I know. But, to him it doesn't mean anything. And he feels like he's doing the right thing, but yet he's leading his wife away from the church. So,
wow.
I'm thinking about, like getting him Scott Hahn tape in the book, what is it, Rome Sweet Home.
Rome,
yeah.
Sweet Home, yeah.
Yeah, and beyond that, Pam, first of all, thank you for caring like you do, just like Rita, our last caller, for her parents. There's it sounds like that this gentleman there's some confusion, maybe some misinformation, maybe some bad catechesis along the way. Mm-hmm. Not to make light of the journey that he is taking right now. And by the way, his wife, if she is firmly Catholic, she needs to just be very, very firm about that and say, honey, I'm a baptized Catholic. I take this seriously. But maybe allow him to take this journey that he's taking right now, because so many people have. The church is full of people who have never been Catholic and then become Catholic, or maybe left for a while and come in. We never want to see that. It's a very, very serious, objective, serious thing. But at the same time, if he has found something that has maybe relit a spark of desire to love Christ and to serve him, then that is authentic in and of itself, and we can hope and pray, and Debbie, you can speak to this, that the seeds that have been planted, he, according to Pam, he said, I know the Eucharist and this and that, so maybe he's not going to wander away forever, but if he needs to have that lamp relit somewhere, maybe this is the way that God is going to do that for him. I don't know.
Well, and here's the other thing too, Pam. with that, okay, he made the comment, or you were saying that he made the comment, you said, what about the Eucharist? It's the source and summit. And he said, yeah, but. And then they go on with how they get more fulfilled with the sermon and the preaching of a minister than they do with at the Catholic Church. This has happened to me on so many occasions. Like, I've lost count. I have to be honest with you. But this is why, if you've listened to the show for the past couple of years, you'll know that I'm a firm promoter of Joan Carroll Cruz's Eucharistic miracles. The reason why is because priests have even doubted the true presence, the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, and God had to show Himself literally in the Eucharistic miracles. And I have given that book to so many people, and I said, listen, just do me a favor, will you please? When you really want to get back to what the real heart is, which is the Eucharist, please look at this, because this is how God loves us so much that He had to allow these miracles just to overcome and to get us through all the doubt that we have and how important the Eucharist is. And I've given that book out so many times. I mean, Joan Carroll Cruz definitely, and she's never even thanked me. But here's the thing, Pam, it's important. He's not alone. So many people intellectually say, yeah, I know, but I'm getting fed over here on this side. There has to come a time where you have to say, wow, the Eucharist is the real, true presence of our Lord. Body, blood, soul, and divinity. And that's that. If you can impart that to him in a way, maybe just by handing him a nicely wrapped book of Joan Carroll Cruz's Eucharistic Miracles, or even having him Google it or internet search it online. There's a ton of documented church-approved Eucharistic miracles. So I don't know if that helps, Pam. I don't even know if you've looked into that. Do you know about that book?
Yeah, I have that book, and him being non-Catholic and on fire, I want to ease it in, but I want to say, well, okay, so how about if you encourage your wife to go to Mass also Saturday or Sunday, so she's not endangering her soul, and then maybe she can go with you, and hoping that he will find his way to the Catholic Church. I think he's hepped up on the music and the vivacious sermons, and
sure.
You know, this is in the
it's
first
a production. Yeah, it's a production.
Yes, it is.
Right. Okay. Well, you're on it. You're on it, Pam, and I think you're just a great friend to want to help your friends to be brought fully and understandably and lovingly into the church and be proud of the Catholic Church. That's what we want. Jerry?
Yeah, Pam, thanks for the call. Florence, Javier, Matthew, please email us. Take 2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. Matthew, looks like you're finding your way back to the faith and you need a little bit of encouragement. Matthew, please email us. Take 2 at EWTN.com. Same with you, Florence, and Javier. And Debbie, Monday, your big show. You're starting that movement.
That's right. Monday, Yellow Day for Mother Angelica. So don't forget, get out the yellow roses, buy the yellow roses. Great time to remember what she did for us. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.